Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I just want to get on here and talk very quickly about something that I've been speaking about for quite some time. And it's been something where I've been warning Black people, warning Black people in America about their behaviors and the things that they've been doing, and that there's going to come a time when there's going to be an end. I've been warning people that if you are part of any hate groups, if you are part of anything where you are attacking white people or non-Black people or anything, get off that train, because there is going to come an end to it. You need to understand how the government operates and how things work. Okay? You get enough rope to hang yourselves. I need you to understand that your freedoms and the things that you have been given has been a blessing from God. Okay? That decision was made not by a group of Black people, but by white people. So therefore, stop attacking white people. I'm not telling you that you're supposed to sit around and allow white people to hurt you, harm you, anything like that. There are ways and processes that we have in the United States of America. Does it always work? Are there times that justice is not fair? Absolutely. It does happen, but more often than not, you're able to bring your case. You're able to do more than anyone in most other countries can do, and there will be some level of justice. It does not always happen, but you have the option. You have other means to do it versus going around and attacking and doing the things you're doing. I want to remind African Americans that you did not fight for your freedoms. Unlike countries like Jamaica and Haiti and other places where the people rose up and were willing to die, and many died, many were killed in the process of fighting for their freedoms, where through their own blood and through their own fearlessness, or fighting with fear, but having the desire to be free, their countries were free. That did not happen in America. What happened was white people had they were in a war. Okay, it was a civil war. There's a war between the North and the South. The South wanted to keep slavery, the North did not. Lots of slavery, lots of runaway slaves were going to the North to have better lives. Everything was not all the way perfect yet for them either, but a lot better than the South. So there was this, how long was the Civil War? Like 5, 6 years? Was it 8 years? It was a long time. Okay. Now there might have been some Black people in there, maybe, but I don't think so. I think I've only seen that in movies. I don't think there were any Black people during that time. I don't think they were allowed. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I don't think slavery had ended, so I don't think that they were in the Civil War. Okay, but let's say even if that were the case, the majority were white people, and that's why I don't think there were any Black people in the Civil War. White people fighting to end slavery. Now, some may say it was for a good cause. There were ill intentions, or these were for political reasons. It may have been, but the point that I'm trying to make is African Americans did not fight for their own freedom. They did not do that. White people did. Okay. I also want to really show you something that's even more scary. That you did not fight for your own freedoms. You did not fight for your own rights. Okay. The only reason why civil rights movements, all these things, NAACP, all these things are possible goes right back to the Civil War, and that you were given rights to begin with. Because without these rights, there will be no NAACP, there will be no civil rights movement. None of those things will be happening. None of it will be happening. Okay, these are the things that you have to go back to. Civil War. You see, a lot of times, let's be honest, sometimes when we're in school, we're bored. We were just like, oh, let's hurry up and just get this. And so a lot of times people are not paying attention. They're not really paying attention. African Americans are not really paying attention to how they got free. They were just born free, and they're just, oh, I got rights. I got rights. But you don't understand how you got it. And as easily as it came, I strongly believe it's the same way it can be taken from you. So in 1863, Abraham Lincoln decided to sign the Emancipation Proclamation to free slaves. By this time, there was the 5th year into the Civil War. Okay, but it wasn't until later on, I think 1865 or 1868, I can't remember. Then they made Congress pass the bill, and they came up with a 13th Amendment. Okay, they changed everything to abolish slavery altogether. And with the flick of a pen, it ended. What made you free, African Americans, was a decision. A decision by Abraham Lincoln. A decision through Congress that would have required some votes between the states. And a change, the 13th Amendment was added. Now, wrap your mind around the fact of how that came about. How? That came about, excuse me, guys, my tummy is rumbling. That came about with a signature. There was a decision that, hey, this needs to end. There was this big war, not between black and white people. It wasn't a bunch of black people that rose up and they started a fight, and then the white people got it, and they were like, oh, we need to stop. And then they agreed, and there were slaves in that room, and slaves voted in, and they all came together with this 13th Amendment. None of that happened. Or at least black leaders of the groups that defeated them. None of that happened. There were Caucasian European men that were willing to fight to the death for their country. And they're still the same way. But what happened is, a lot of times, what is that? What is this where there's this willing to fight and die on the European side, but then right now, black Americans, not so much. You can be loud, but being loud is not necessarily being fearless. You can talk smack, you can insult, but it does not mean you are brave. And when I know that you're not brave is because only few of you are, just like there were only a few Nat Turners and men of that ilk. There were only a few Harriet Tubmans. You see, we're not going to read about too many people that did a lot of things. Frederick Douglass, I don't believe he was a slave, was he? I can't remember. Isn't that sad? I believe it was born free, or his parents were, they were in a different situation. Frederick Douglass was not in the heat of slavery like everybody else was, okay? Because he was walking to school and stuff like that during his time, so, and learning to read and write, so he was different. But like the Nat Turners and the Harriet Tubmans, those are few and far between. But just like there are only a few brave black people today. I'm not telling people you got to go out there and try to hurt other individuals, but a lot of times you are very easy to control, because nobody is going to try to stand up for, someone that's being hurt. No one is going to do that. Okay? Imagine just standing up for someone. No, you're not going to hurt my daughter. You're not going to do this. There's bravery does not fear. Okay? Especially when they know something is being done that is wrong. So that's not there. But getting back to the point. So these men, whether they're, willing to fight to the death, people were losing their legs, all kinds of stuff was going on. They're fighting for their land and for their country and all these different things. They're willing to fight. Okay. Same way, if I might divert for a second, when Texas was fighting against the Spanish. Okay. I don't think it was called Texas just yet. But anyway, they were willing to fight against the Spanish. They stood up. Okay. That's where Texas got the come and take it thing, the come and take it state. Texas is still that state that's is no nonsense, okay? They were willing to fight for it. But what you have to understand is your freedoms today, the freedoms you experience, the freedoms we're experiencing, okay, as people of color came from, it's just a signature on a piece of paper. Okay, it's not like, oh, lessons learned, these people would really stand up, they are really gonna fight. Mm-mm. So if you are spending a lot of your time undoing everything that, the brave ones in the past fought for, their freedoms, in a sense of those who are willing to run away, those who are willing to help others, and then eventually those who died through the Civil War, okay, you want to undo it by now trying to attack white people. I'm telling you, what's going to happen is you're going to become a domestic threat. You're going to be labeled as a domestic threat. The same way that a signature changed your whole life is the same way a signature and a vote can reverse it. You may think it will not happen, but it is very easy to happen. And I'm going to tell you why. Because right now, Black people are on a public stage, on the world stage, doing all types of nonsense in America. Let's talk about America. Doing all kinds of stuff. I've seen videos, people just acting up, misbehaving. You know what someone may say? If they were still slaves, then this will be happening. Is that a right assessment? It's not necessarily, because not all Black people are doing that. But when you see one Black person doing that, guess what? One Black person robbed the store, the next person that walks in, Black person who has no intention of robbing or has ever robbed, they are the one that feel the repercussions of it, because now the store owners, the restaurant owners, these individuals they've had a bad experience. So when you're being nice and you're smiling, they're not smiling back with you, because thanks to the previous Black people that has come through, this is the end result. Does it make it right? Should they not be resilient and treat you well? Yes. But guess what? That's not always the reality. Black people are doing so many things. Even people who are saying that they're educated, they get on these platforms, calling white people all out of their name, talking to somebody's father, mother, grandfather, uncle, brother, husband in this disrespectful manner, being rude, being ugly, saying all this stuff. Guys, you're not going to keep getting away with that. And so what will happen is, if you don't understand, it's very easy for the powers that be, those who are higher up, to formulate a plan and come with a way to say, we need to get them under control. And it will be easy to get the support from the public, because there's already a general idea that Black skin, Black people are problematic and aggressive. Is it true? No. But that's what's being shown on television. That's what you see on the news. I've already said in a previous video, there are a lot of Black people who are doing things, who are achieving things, who are doing wonderful things, but you may see highlights of that occasionally. But what you see most of the times are Black people behaving like mongooses, doing all these different things, blah, blah, blah. Then they're on their channels or platforms talking bad and being loud and disrespecting white people and saying all these different things. And then they're getting away with stuff and they can't get arrested and right? Guess what's going to happen eventually? Understand that there can be a change in power. Understand just how now we're in a time where men can be women and women can be men. We're in a time now, if you don't use the right pronoun, you can go to jail. We're in a time now where you can have a gay person that's sitting and reading to your children, and all the stuff that's going on, and your children don't need to tell you if they want to be a boy. So our daughters can go in to a doctor, and the doctors will keep it a secret and take her somewhere to remove her breast, and take your son and remove his parts and tuck it and do all the stuff and make it into a girly part. There's a time you thought that would never happen, right? But we are in such a time. So just think of the most unbelievable things. Those are the most unbelievable things I can think of right now. Like, you would have never think there would be a time where there will be like a Dylan Mulvaney, the guy who is he is advertising women's sports bras. Okay. And and you better not say he, you better say she. You understand what I'm saying? So, and being praised and lauded, and you're going to be demonized if you say otherwise. Understand that if a time comes where black people are looked at as problematic, social miscreants, a threat to society and the well-being of the country, or a domestic threat, there's going to be a plan, and it's going to be presented in such a way. It won't be slavery, it's going to be called something else. I already say you need to understand the history of this country and the things that have happened over time. You may say, oh, those were the old days. No, it was the United States, which means that there are times when things can happen under whoever is in the White House at the time, or whatever's going on at that time. Things can occur and laws can be changed if it is deemed to be a threat. You can be put away, they can isolate you, or if it's going to be of benefit, then it is hailed and it is praised, whether you guys like it or not. And you can be put in jail. And if you have to think about it, there are things right now, a lot of the rights and all that stuff that's going on. The reason why it's being okayed, whether it's gay rights or anything that's happening, it's because on the higher level, this lifestyle, it's somebody on these levels are okay with it. Not necessarily for, oh, they're people too. No, but it's being practiced. So if we're going to make it legal, and we're going to do the test run, and the people on the bottom, let's watch the people, see how it works with them. We're going to sit back and see how it goes. We're going to see how much fight there is against it. And then if it works, then great. It works for us. If not, and it's getting too out of control, then we're going to revoke those things. It's the same thing that's going on with black people right now. Guys, you're free because because these people got together. Congress decided you were going to be free. That's why you're going to school. That's why you're doing all these things. God opened the door. But if in that, when you begin to do evil, when you begin to do wrong things, when you begin to try to be vengeful and vindictive, when you bring these behaviors to the forefront, what you put out is what you're going to get. What you sow, you're going to reap. So you put out evil, you try to go against people, you're going to see how those in authority, how it will work. A lot of black people talk a lot of smack and say, oh, I will get my gun and I will do this and I will do that. Understand the government can control every last one of you, every last one of us. Believe me, you saw how there was control during COVID. Make yourself be deemed as public enemy number one, causing a bunch of problems, saying that you're going to go up in arms against the military, and see how quickly you will be obliterated. There'll be about 10 of y'all left. It's not hard. You have to understand the military, the U.S. military can go and subdue an entire country. Do you think it's going to be hard to subdue, to send in military to eradicate a group of people who are deemed to be domestic threats, probably will be called terrorists at that time, and then you're fighting against a law. You're fighting against a decree that's been made, that's come from the White House, from Congress down, and think you're gonna run around with your little black skin and not gonna light you up. They could only hope you would try. So what I'm telling you all is, and no, let me explain this. There are people who are wealthy right now. I've said this before. There are black people who are wealthy and they think, oh, I have money and oh, they wouldn't do this. Your money doesn't mean anything to these people. They don't care. That's just some extra stuff that you've been given and you earned that. But this new world order, if you want to call it that, if it turned, you will realize, the richest black person would realize that at the end of it all, you don't mean anything. They'll take all your money, they'll take all your assets because you are considered a foreign threat and put you there with everybody else. And guess what? You'll be surprised how many people in the world will think it's okay. Why? Because of the behaviors of a lot of black people right now. It's causing a resentment. There are people that's already hated black people before, but then there are those who didn't. There are those who actually felt compassion, but they themselves start to get attacked. They themselves, in trying to help a black person or black people, they found themselves being attacked and being demonized because they didn't do everything that they were supposed to do. They trusted and hired this black person and they came on their job and they did all this stuff. They trusted it and gave room and board to this black person. They came to their house and did all this stuff. There's a man I know, I don't know, but I saw, and he saw this black couple, they were homeless or whatever. He contacted the news station, got this couple off the street. He has a big house, but he also had like a, what do you call it, mother-in-law suite, where there's another home off to the side on the property, and they were living there. And these people just didn't want to go to work. Every day they're just walking around and going down to visit their friends, not working. So eventually the man asked them about, hey, what are your plans and everything? And they start to deflect. Well, you don't spend any time with us and we feel you're pushing us and we could lose our benefits and blah, 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 blah. So they want to live with that man. They want to live in that house, but they didn't want to get a job. Okay. And then they are on the news demonizing this man. Oh, he doesn't spend time with us. He's doing da 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 da. What do you think that goes through someone's mind like that after you've helped? And what I'm saying is, you will find that people who would normally have supported black people will turn their backs on them. I remember seeing a video maybe last year where this man was like, leave them alone. Don't do nothing for them. It was a white man saying that. He was like, nothing you do for them will help. And it appeared to me as if he had been trying to help. He had been trying to assist. He was trying to be there, but he just got done wrong. So what you have to understand is, when and if that happens, people will support it because they are sick to the back teeth of black people and they nonsense. We can thank these people walking around, jumping up and down on restaurant tables, attacking people, behaving poorly, not listening when the police are talking to them. Understand that there's some people, hey, they're just asking questions, and sometimes the police are not giving them the courtesy of, hey, what's your badge number? What am I being arrested for? That got that like they would with a white person. But then you have people that's really coming out and they're wrong and what did I do? I didn't do it. And they're yelling and being abusive. And it's like, man, I was like, I got to give it to these police officers, man, because for me, I don't know. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'd be there like, get in the car, shut up. No. Shut up. You know why you been on get the test. But nah. So guys, it's just a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper. It's a very important piece of paper, but Black people need to understand that. So what am I saying? Am I saying that Black people need to sit around and be, oh, I won't say a word. I won't say nothing. I won't. No, there's a way to do things. Okay. But this thing of attacking, continue to thrive, continue to do well. There's a way to bring issues to the forefront without acting like you don't have sense. There can't be a double standard. You have to know how to talk to people. Stop getting on these platforms and talking disrespectfully to people, insulting individuals, talking about why y'all don't do nothing for that. You have more freedom than most Black people in other nations and continents. Okay, you have more, and I've already talked about that on another video, so I'm not going to get into that. If you want to go and look it up, then go make sure you're my search engine and just put it in the word Black, and you'll see everything that will pop up about it. You may or may not agree with it, but I'm telling you guys, these things will change. These things will change. Okay? And I've already done videos that will explain all that. They may not and will not necessarily get rid of all the Black people. They probably won't do it that way. But just as how they did with the Japanese a long time ago when Pearl Harbor was bombed, they were put in tenement camps. And they can do the same thing again. And nobody's going to come and rescue Black people. If anything, they're going to think it's a relief. They're going to feel safer. They're going to feel less stress, because having them around is all these problems. So I am telling you, your freedoms have been given to you by God. And when you've been given these blessings and these freedoms, what you do with it matters. Make the most of it. Follow the laws. Treat your neighbors the way you would want to be treated. Learn how to speak to people, talk to people the way you want to be talked to, the way you would like to be addressed, and understand that your blessing comes from God. Continue to thrive, continue to do the things that you need to do. Stand up and speak up for things that's not correct, but there's a way to do it. You don't need to knuckle drag and be all this way. And also, you need to correct one another. But let's be honest, a lot of times Black people don't feel like they can correct the person to their left or right that looks just like them, because you don't know if you can be killed. You don't know if you're going to be cursed out. You don't know how that's going to go, if there will be any consequences, because Black people among yourselves, we know how stuff goes down. You live among Black people. You've been there. You've gone to their functions. You know how stuff go down. You know how they do things. And you know how it is when you are trying to talk to some of these individuals, if they're going to listen or not, if they're going to be able to take correction, if they're going to be able to take any wisdom, if they're going to be able to take what you're saying and go, you know what, okay, I never thought about that, but thank you for bringing that to my attention. A lot of times they're not going to do that. You know why they're not going to do it? Because they've been taught to be victims, or any type of correction is taken with offense. So if as Black people, you don't feel that you can talk to one another, you can't talk to your sister, you can't talk to your brother, you can't talk to your neighbor, you can't say anything to them, then you know there's a problem. Okay? Things are going to change. Things are coming down the pipe. It's going to come down eventually. You have to make sure that you're in the right position with God. Get off the hate train. Get off the racism train. Get off of anything that is about attacking people, call them out their names, all these different things, all these things that's making you feel like you're the victim all the time. Yes, things may not be perfect, but there are other things and opportunities that you have that and ways that you can do and you can do better. There are other African Americans who have come from poor, probably equal poverty or less, okay? And they have done well for themselves. Then there are other people that's come from different countries, had nothing, no running water, anything, all piled up, living in some apartment with no electricity and eating, buying a loaf of bread to survive off of. And they work hard and they go to school and they get laughed at because they're not wearing all the nice clothes, but they get their education and they surpass and open business, and now they're your boss or they're making more money than you. So it's not just a foreign thing. Oh, they're just doing that for foreigners. Oh, they're just doing this for white people. No, they're doing it for black people from other countries. And also, there are plenty of black Americans who succeed. It's just a choice. It's a choice. And the freedoms and the liberties that's been given was done by signature. And I believe it can be reversed. And to be honest, they have enough of an argument to change that. They have enough evidence to say, hey, there's a need to kind of do something here to ensure that we can, there will be these buzzwords that I can't think of, but it's really going to be about rectifying, and it's going to be about basically bringing you back to some level of civility. And hopefully you will now be able to be reintegrated back into society after you've been assessed. Keep playing around and thinking it won't happen. It will, and it can happen. And that's why you need to ensure that you are on the right side with God, and stop following after these hate groups and doing the stuff, because you know who they're gonna look at your social media accounts. They're probably watching your social media accounts now. They're looking at the things that you're doing, and they're looking at your criminal record and all that stuff, and be rounding you up and putting you away. Okay? And then you're gonna be asking, oh, I'm looking for Michael Anderson. Yeah, Michael Anderson. Oh, Michael Anderson, who? Oh, his social is blah, blah, blah. The social does not exist. No, we just saw him yesterday. You guys took him in. No, Michael Anderson exists. Keep playing with the government if you want to. Keep playing these silly games. Guys, get off this bus. Get off the train of hate. Get off the train of resentment. Get off the train of people who are just stirring up trouble. Because what you're going to find at the root of most of these movements, as I've said in the last one when I was talking about feminism, is anger, vengeance, hatred, malice. And you'll find when it's all said and done, it has nothing to do with caring about anything or freedom. No, it's just about hatred and being able to come together like a bunch of ants and causing trouble. But when you look around, you're really ants, because you're going to get stomped out and sprayed real quick. The government would allow you to do a lot of nonsense for a long period of time. They'll let you go for a long time doing things. Because when they come, whether it is the FBI or whoever, they come looking for you, you're not going to get away with it. There's not going to be any, what? No. You're not, if FBI get involved, you're not getting away with anything. That means they've been watching you for 20, 30 years. They've been watching you for 15. They've been getting everything. Okay, so be careful who you're getting involved with, what you're doing, what you're planning. Stop going to work giving trouble to your boss. Do your job. Stop giving trouble, showing up late, not doing what you need to do, and then always say, it's because I'm black. Okay? A lot of times you're like squatters to your employers. You go there, you want to get in, but you don't want to do your job, but you know how to do everything not to keep them from firing you, because you know we're in this time where you can just bring up your color and they're going to have to be hands off. It's time to stop it, guys, because laws and things are going to come. Maybe it will happen in this lifetime, or maybe it won't. Maybe we won't see it, but maybe our children will. But by you doing the right thing now and saying, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to stop and end this, if and when this does happen, God's grace, because of your obedience now, God's grace will be on your children. All right, guys.